Good afternoon, club. Good afternoon, club.
Good afternoon, Shannon. Come on, people, we can do better than that. Say it again, Shannon.
Come on, good afternoon, club. Thank you. We got to show all these lovely guests how much spirit we have. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Oakland. We are the third oldest Rotary Club in the world. There are over 42,000 Rotary Clubs in over 200 countries, and we want to welcome all of you in the room, and I want to welcome all of our friends on Zoom. Who do we have? Do we have some friends on Zoom? Oh, there they are. Oh, here. Hi, Linda Hamilton. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Kathleen. Linda. Hello, Leon Panetta, eventually. Nice table. And Kira. Hello. Welcome. And everybody else on Zoom. We might even have somebody zooming in from Leon, Spain. That would be Tom Lamone's brother, David. Anyway, welcome everybody. All right, to open this meeting, I would actually like to have a moment of silence because our country had some terrible news last night with the crash in Washington, D.C. And many souls and many families were destroyed. So I'd like to take a moment of silence for the victims of the airplane crash in Washington, D.C. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to actually start our meeting with a reminder about our vision statement. And it's up on the screen. And for those of you who'd like to say it with me, I'm going to go ahead and read it. Rotarians, together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe and in our communities. So that's something for us to remember as we have this exciting meeting together. I wanted to go ahead and, I'm going to start with just recognizing all of our guests. Our guests, normally we walk around with a mic and we give everybody a moment, but we have so many guests today, we're going to have to postpone that. So if you're a guest, would you please stand up and we'll give you a warm Oakland Rotary welcome. Thank you so much. Come again and come often. I'd also like to recognize the Rotarians that are visiting from other clubs around. We have Ed Hernandez from San Leandro, welcome. And Jana from the Gilroy Rotary Club and her guests, thank you so much for coming. Michael Jackson, Piedmont Montclair. And we have, I'm going to spell it wrong, I'm going to say it wrong, Nakele from Richmond. She's president-elect. Thank you for taking on that leadership. And we also have a gentleman from Texas. Thank you for coming today. Oh, I lost your ticket. John. No, not John. I lost his ticket. Anyway, thank you for coming. He lives near Austin, Texas, and he's been here before. Thank you for coming. So we have Rotarians all over the world, and you, too, can go anywhere in the world and make up. So with that, and our vision statement, I'd like to introduce Pam and her team. A number of our Rotarians went to a peace conference this weekend, and what better day to talk about peace than today. So please join us and give us some inspiration so that we can all be working towards peace. So ask Peter to cue the slides. Cue the slides. There you go. You're set.
Okay. Oakland Rotary number 3 was well represented at Rotary Peace Conference, the first one ever held in Northern California, where Rotarians unite for peace locally and globally. The next slide. This was a 3-day conference. There are 6 districts sponsoring the event, 400 attending Rotarians, 16 districts represented, along with 4 countries and 6 U.S. states. It was a good time of use.
We learned about the synergies between RI's 7 areas of focus and IEP's 8 pillars of peace listed here. And we do have handouts on the table because the slides are hard to read. The synergies that demonstrate how Rotary projects support peace across multiple dimensions. IEP is the Institute for Economics and Peace, a global think tank that provides research and reports on attitudes, institutions, and structures associated with peaceful societies.
So the conference really helped me broaden my understanding of peace. It was connecting the dots. It's not just a big thing, but it's every little thing that builds to a world that's better. I was particularly impressed with the ambassadors of compassion and the Berkeley Rotary Club's work with Braver Hearts. After hearing about Heidi Kuhn's work with the Roots of Peace, I have to say I was appalled when I arrived home and saw President Trump had ordered the State Department to discontinue projects related to landmine removal.
The Rotary Peace Pole dedication was inspiring, hearing a second-generation Holocaust survivor working for peace with Jews, Christians, and Muslims to promote peace to better our world. His presentation, United for Peace, was uplifting to all.
The Rotary Peace Pole project is an inexpensive way to make a claim, to make a statement. It's a visual, permanent claim, may peace prevail on earth. Started by a Japanese philosopher, Masai Koi, who was reacting to the atomic bombings in World War II. A dedication ceremony can bring groups together to reaffirm a commitment to peace.
I learned it was a Rotarian that asked to speak with the Taliban. The Rotarian was covered in a hood taken by car to a meeting place where he explained Rotary and the Rotary Polio Plus program. This resulted in allowing healthcare workers to safely administer polio drops in Pakistan.
I also learned that in Haiti, government workers and NGOs have fled because it's not safe. But there are 26 Rotary clubs attempting to work with the local gangs to resurrect some semblance of civil rest. You know, peace is not just the absence of war. Peace is making sure that basic needs are met. Our Oakland Rotary projects take steps towards peace. Oakland Rotarians are peacemakers.
Thank you so much. And for those of you that didn't attend, I actually tried to attend and it was sold out. But it's amazing how many other things around the world we can attend and learn from. And we also are so busy with sometimes our food insecurity and our youth programs and all the different programs we do around the world, and we forget that peace is the foundation for all of that good work to work. So with that, I want to invite past District Governor Ed Jelen to the stage. There's another big remembrance this weekend for our past international president, Rick King, who's from the Bay Area. And I wanted to remember Rick, because a lot of us won't be at that dinner, and have Ed Jelen tell us about Rick King.
Thank you, President Shannon, Secretary Panetta, if you're there on Zoom, fellow Rotarians and guests. As many of you know, this Sunday, the Niles Fremont Rotary Club is hosting an event to honor the late past Rotary International President Rick King, who was a member of that club and the only Rotary International president from our district. I'm not here to tell you about the event because it's been sold out, but this week of that event is an appropriate occasion for us to take a moment to remember Rick, and for those of you who are relatively new to Rotary or don't know about Rotary, to tell you a bit about him, which I think is a very important thing for you to know. I think President Shannon chose me to make this presentation because I was privileged to get to know Rick as my mentor, advisor, and friend as soon as my appointment to become district governor became known. Rick invited me out to lunch, offered his help to do whatever he could during my year, and gave me this necktie, which I am wearing today. Yeah. Rick joined Rotary in 1968. He went on to become district governor of our District 5170, an international director of Rotary International, a Rotary Foundation trustee, and in the Rotary year 2001-2002, international president of Rotary International, the only Rotarian from our district to have held that position. With the theme, Mankind is Our Business, Rick encouraged members to extend compassion and aid to people in need and find workable solutions to the world's persistent challenges. He said it is Rotary's business to improve the quality of life in each of our communities. Indeed, what Rick loved the most about Rotary was helping people in need. In a 2016 interview, Rick said, I quote, "We help people regardless of their religion, regardless of their politics, regardless of their color, regardless of their language. Every second of the day, we heal the sick, we save lives, we bring hope, and we bring peace. And that's the thrust of Rotary. And in doing so, the Rotarian becomes a changed person." On that occasion, Rick recounted an early experience that shaped his Rotary life. He was leading a group study exchange trip to India when he accompanied a Rotarian doctor to visit a poor village. The doctor had performed cataract surgery and, with the patient's children nearby, removed the bandages of that patient to determine whether she could see. Rick said, for the first time in her life, she saw her own 3 children. I'll never forget the look on her face. I'll never forget it. It seared me. She wasn't the only one who got vision that day. Although Rick has left us, his vision certainly lives on as an inspiration to and role model for every Rotarian. Thank you.
You know, when you join Rotary and invite people to join you, you create the army of people that continue this work. And Rick inspired literally thousands of people to do more work. So that's what we do. And we have a past president here that is going to welcome in the new year. Welcome Mary Jiang.
Good afternoon. 恭喜發財. Okay, as you know, my name is Mary Jiang, and I'm the past president of Oakland Rotary number 3. I would like to give you some background information about Lunar New Year if you don't know about it. Did you know that Lunar New Year is the longest and most important celebration in Asia, celebrated by 1.5 billion people in China, Vietnam, Taiwan, Singapore, Korea, Malaysia, Indonesia. Any place in the Southeast Asia is there. The Chinese year is 4,723. That's how old the tradition has been. It's the year of the snake, and it began on January 29, 2025. The Chinese uses the lunar calendar, which has 13 months, which explain why Lunar New Year changes every year. Now, similar to Western New Year, Lunar New Year symbolizes letting go of the past and welcoming the new year. The significance is similar to the Western Thanksgiving or Christmas celebration among Western culture. It's a reunion time. It's a celebration time with family and eating feasts. Well, the Rotary Club will honor the family feast tradition by celebrating Lunar New Year on February 13, next Thursday, 2 Thursdays from now, at the Panetta Seafood Restaurant in Oakland, Chinatown. The cost is $85 for a 10-course banquet. Such a bargain. So you guys have this flyer on your desk. Please use this QR code to register or write Jesse a check. Thank you.
And I'll be there, so come join. Let's see. All right, Greg Ennis, please come up. We have a very special guest, part of our youth aspects of Rotary. Please welcome.
Good afternoon, President Shannon, fellow Rotarians and guests. I'm here to introduce someone that I've worked with for some time in my role as chair of the Interact Committee. This individual is a bright, confident, and effervescent member of our youth community who is working to mold the world of our future into one in a way which everyone in this room will be proud of. Please join me in welcoming the Interact Area 1 Director, Saran Tugsjargle.
Good afternoon, Oakland Rotary Club and President Shannon. It is an honor to speak with you all here today, and my name is Saran Hillary Tugsjargle. We all know that motto of service above self. Actually, it's one of my key principles that I lead on in my communities these days. It has guided me the first time I joined Interact, and it continues to shape my leadership experience. Before Interact, I struggled to find my place. Growing up with autism spectrum disorder and multiple disabilities, I often felt isolated, unsure where would I fit in, often silenced. I never imagined that I would find a community where I can build those leadership skills and serve. Backslide. No. Wait, no, backslide. Go backwards. Back another one? Yes. Yeah. There you go. One more. Okay. Then I found Interact. It introduced me the motto of service above self. And it changed everything. Through Interact, I discovered my place where I could grow, found my passion, but also build meaningful friendships and relationships and not feel like I wouldn't belong anymore. Through these events like Fall Leadership Conference, New President's Meeting, Rotary Youth Leadership Award, and President Winter Retreat, I found my community and I found that this is where I was meant to be. Next slide. As I progressed in Interact, I became the Area 1 Director this year to serve part of Interact District 5170 and Daydream District, where it became my mission to empower interactors, build their leadership skills, but also serve our communities through our service projects, like both locally and internationally. Through these efforts, Area 1 has raised over 1,000 service hours and over 600 members a part of Oakland and Alameda. Through leading and teaching workshops at the Interact Fall Leadership Conference, Fall Rally, and New Presidency Meeting, we have found that passion, and I found my passion to continue that service above self. My journey also learned me into my government roles. Next slide. And it is my honor to announce that I became the first Mongolian American official in this country in California's history, serve as the first Mongolian American Youth Commissioner on the Advisory Commission on Special Education for the California Department of Education, where I represent over 850,000 students with disabilities across California's education system. Not only do I serve as a student commissioner, but I became a National Youth Fellow for the U.S. Department of Labor, Office of Department of Employment Policy, where I advise over 30-plus policymakers nationwide, representing over 1.3+ million students with disabilities across this nation for the next 5 years. I was recognized as one of the top 30 disability leaders in the world for my efforts in service and beyond. And honestly, Service Above Self has shaped my leadership and driven every step of my journey, and will continue to guide my work in serving communities wherever I go, and all of us what we continue to do. Thank you, Rotary Club of Oakland, and for your leadership and above in supporting Area 1 Interactors. Thank you.
And I hear she just got a full ride scholarship to Rice University. Please welcome, thank you. And for those guests, Interact is high school Rotarians. That is our farm team, and they are doing amazing work. Tricia.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Before you used to see me and think gala, she's going to ask me for money. Now it's Enterprise Institute, and I'm asking for your time March 14th, 15th, and 16th of this year. We have 30 Rotarians signed up, but we're asking for a very specific thing this time. Oh, that's not the one. But anyway, we need people who are experts or who work in the arts, nonprofit management, real estate, you know who you are, Jennifer, politics, sports management, engineering or IT, trades, and hospitality. And these tasks is only for Saturday at 9 a.m. The theme this year for Enterprise is networking and career choice, right? And exploring all the occupations that are out there. So if you are in one of those fields and can spend one morning in the beautiful redwoods of Aptos, I'm done. Please come talk to me or Carrie Hamill or Marie Seskin or Anna Marie Jones. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hanging out in the redwoods. Come join Rotarians. Kathy Diary, we have some amazing news. A new member to join us. Please welcome.
President Shannon, fellow Rotarians and guests, today we have the pleasure of introducing Charlene Wang as our newest Oakland Rotarian. So Charlene was raised by a single mom in various parts of the East Bay, but spent much of her formative time with her grandmother Jenny, who lived in West Oakland. She now lives in the East Lake, San Antonio neighborhood with her dog Galvy. So, 2 interesting facts about Charlene. Oh no, first I'm going to tell you about her overachievement in education. She graduated from Columbia University with a degree in environmental engineering. She received her master's in public policy from Harvard University. She currently works as an advisor at the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency on environmental justice and civil rights. But 2 interesting parts. In high school, she played the violin with the Oakland Youth Orchestra. She still has her violin, but more importantly, she's also a licensed bartender, and Oakland Rotary can certainly put this skill to good use. So President Shannon, fellow Rotarians and guests, please welcome Charlene Wang as our newest Oakland Rotarian.
Thank you so much. Wait, I have a goodie bag for you. Here's a roster with almost 250 of your new best friends. There's a book written by Linda Hamilton of our first 100 years of Rotary, and a how-to book in our 4-way test, and some other goodies. And thank you for joining us. As you can see, we only invite underachievers to the club. But you are amazing, and we look forward to doing good work together.
Thank you so much.
Bravo. Thank you, Charlie. Wow. I love hearing about, woo. Okay, we have something coming up. Wait a minute. Where's everybody? Stephanie? Who are we looking for? Where are we going?
President Shannon, I understand you're wondering if we're going to have a gala this year, fundraiser.
Somebody was wondering, are we having a gala? Yes?
Yes, we are. It's Thursday, April 10th. It will be in the lobby of the beautiful 1111 Broadway. Boca Nova will be catering it. The theme is a service safari, a celebration of fellowship, philanthropy, and good deeds. I hope you all will be there. The funds from this event, along with our campaign, our annual ORE campaign, is what funds our programs and services to the club. So it's a really important event to support and bring potential Rotarians to it as well.
Are we on the hunt for sponsors?
Yes. You're getting calls from the dedicated ORE board members. Myself and Ruth are making calls. We've already had a few commitments, but we need a lot more to make this thing happen. So please, sponsorships start at $1,000 and on up.
And are we on the hunt for cool auction items?
Yes, we're looking for ideas. We know from past events that our Rotarians like experiences. They like fun activities they can do together, travel. So if you have ideas, please contact myself or Ruth so we can start pulling those auction items together. That's always a big part of the proceeds from this event, and you'll be hearing more from us.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for chairing the event. Alex Kafka, I think we should have a paella dinner or something like that. It would be great to do something. So think of cool experiences. All right, guess what? This is the Commonwealth Club of Oakland. We have the coolest speakers. Secretary, I see that you're ready to go. Welcome to Oakland, and we are so grateful for you to be here. We have your friend David Stein that's going to tell everybody just your bio is so short. I asked him to fill it up. So here we go, and thank you for being here.
President Shannon, fellow Rotarians and guests, it's my honor to introduce Secretary Leon Panetta. Secretary Panetta is a man of unwavering character and faith who has led a life committed to public service. Born in Monterey, California, the son of Italian immigrants, Secretary Panetta learned service at a young age. In high school, he was student body president and in the Key Club. In college, he served in the ROTC. After graduating from law school, he served in the Army military as an Army military intelligence officer. Secretary Panetta grew up in California during an age of Republican leadership that was fiscally conservative and socially progressive. After leaving the military, he landed a job as a legislative assistant to Republican Senator Thomas Kuehl, who warned him about DC and politics. Quote, "Remember, when you get up in the morning, you have to look at yourself in the mirror," close quote. He has never forgotten that. He served in the Nixon administration as the Director of Office for Civil Rights, where he chose to enforce civil rights and equal education laws over substantial political pressure. This resulted in his being forced to resign. In 1971, he became a Democrat and was elected to Congress 5 years later, serving the Monterey area for 16 years, where he concentrated on budget issues, civil rights, education, healthcare, agriculture, immigration, and environmental protection. As the director of the Office of Management and Budget under President Bill Clinton, he developed the budget package that would eventually result in the 1998 balanced budget. He was President Clinton's White House Chief of Staff from 1994 to 1997. President Barack Obama called on Secretary Panetta to serve first as the director of CIA, where he played a key role in the raid that killed Osama bin Laden, and then as Secretary of Defense, where he jointly certified, along with Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, that the military was prepared to repeal "Don't Ask, Don't Tell." Since retiring as Secretary of Defense in 2013, Secretary Panetta has served as the chairman of the Panetta Institute for Public Policy, which he co-founded with his wife in 1997. The nonpartisan institute works to help communities and our country meet the challenges of the 21st century, with a particular focus on attracting thoughtful young men and women to lives of public service. Long an advocate for the world's oceans, he co-chairs the Joint Ocean Commission initiative. He's a member of the Council for Responsible Social Media to address negative mental, civic, and public health impacts of social media. Secretary Panetta is married to Celia. They have 3 sons and 6 grandchildren. In 2016, their third son, Jimmy Panetta, was elected to his old congressional seat. When Secretary Panetta and Sylvia became engaged, she gave him a watch. He has worn it ever since, always set to California time, so that no matter where he is in the world, he is always reminded of home. We are honored to have Secretary Panetta here today to speak to Oakland Rotary on the topic, the challenge of leadership, finding opportunity in crisis. Please give a warm Rotary welcome to Secretary Leon Panetta.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, David, for that kind introduction. And thanks to all of you at Rotary for inviting me to share some thoughts with all of you. I'm honored. I'm honored for several reasons. One, because our family has a lot of ties to the Oakland area. My wife, who's also Italian, has a number of cousins who continue to live in Oakland. My son, Jimmy, which David mentioned, is now a member of Congress, served in the Alameda DA's office for a number of years and conducted a number of prosecutions in that area. His wife, Carrie, was also in the district attorney's office and became a Superior Court judge on the Alameda bench. She now serves as a judge here in Monterey County. And I have served for a number of years on the board of Blue Shield of California, which has our principal office there in Oakland, and we're very proud of the building. That's part of the, of the picture of Oakland itself. So I'm proud to have this opportunity to be with all of you. I'm also a proud Californian. As David mentioned, I'm the son of immigrants. I was born and raised in Monterey, where we live now. And my father was the 13th in his family in Italy. And like many in those families, he had a few brothers who came over ahead of him. He had one brother, his oldest brother, who wound up in Sheridan, Wyoming, and another brother who wound up in California. When my mother and father came to this country, the tradition was you visit your older brother first, and they did that. Spent one winter in Sheridan, Wyoming, and my mother then said to my father, I think it's time to visit your other brother in California, which they did. Wound up in Monterey, California, where I was raised. They ran a restaurant in downtown Monterey during the war years. My earliest recollections were standing on a chair in the back of that restaurant, washing glasses. My parents believed child labor was a requirement in our family. And then my dad, after the war, sold the restaurant and bought some land in Carmel Valley, where he raised walnuts. We still have that farm. Sylvia and I now have a vineyard in that farm. And I recall, again, working out on that farm and doing all the work that you have to do on a farm. And as those walnut trees that he planted got older, my father used to go around with a pole and hook and shake each of the branches. And my brother and I used to be underneath collecting the walnuts. When I got elected to Congress, my father said that I had been well trained to go to Washington because I've been dodging nuts all my life, which is true. It was good training for Washington. I also asked my dad, why did he come all of that distance to come to a strange land? They came from a poor area in Italy, but they had the comfort of family and friends. Why would you do that? And I never forgot his answer, which was that my mother and he could give their children a better life in this country. And that, very frankly, is the American dream. It's what all of us want for our children and for their children. And in many ways, that's what Rotary Club is all about. I'm an honorary member of the Monterey Rotary. I know all of the Rotaries, obviously, in this area, and have had a chance to speak to a number of them. And I'm always very proud of the service that you provide to your community. The service and the leadership and the willingness to try to give of yourself in order to make the quality of life in your community better and to give others a chance at the American dream. So I thank you for your service, and I thank you for your leadership. And that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today, was the challenge of leadership and the effort to try to find opportunity in crisis. I had the chance to work with someone that some of you may have known, George Shultz, who became Secretary of Labor and then Secretary of State, and had the chance to work very closely with him. He had a quote that I think resonates today. He said that trust is the coin of the realm. Trust is the coin of the realm when it comes to our democracy. And when trust is in the room, whatever room, good things happen. Trust is critical to leadership. Trust is critical to our democracy in order for it to function properly. And leadership certainly is critical to our ability to deal with crisis. Rahm Emanuel, who I worked with in White House, both in the Clinton administration and later in the Obama administration, someone who is coming back from Japan as our ambassador to Japan, has said, and I quote, "In every great crisis, there is great opportunity," unquote. And looking around the world and looking around this country, I'd say there are a hell of a lot of opportunities because there are one hell of a lot of crises that we have to deal with. We live at a pivotal time. I've served in public life for over 50 years. And as I often say, I've seen Washington at its best and Washington at its worst. The good news is I've seen Washington work. When I went back to work with Senator Kuechel, there were Republicans like Kuechel, Javits of New York, George Aiken from Vermont, Clifford Case from New Jersey, and all of them worked with Democrats because they thought it was important to work together. When I got elected to Congress, Tip O'Neill was the speaker, Democrat from Boston. But he had a great relationship with Bob Michel, who was the minority leader. And they believed that it was important for both parties on major issues to work together. Of course, they had their politics. Of course, they fought each other in elections. But when it came to big issues, they worked together. And as a result of that, in the Reagan administration, as an example, we passed Social Security reform on a bipartisan vote. We passed tax reform. We passed an immigration bill on a bipartisan vote. We were able to get things done for the country. These last number of years, Washington has become, in many ways, dysfunctional. We've been through political, cultural, societal, economic turmoil of one kind or another. And it's raised questions about our ability to govern. Our ability to govern. We've gone from Trump's first term of 4 years in office that without question included a great deal of chaos and unpredictability. And it ended with him trying to deal with something that was unexpected by all of us, which was the COVID-19 pandemic, which shut down our country, shut down jobs, shut down our economy. We're still recovering from that period. It led to 4 years of Biden, who said he would be a transition president. But also during that time, we witnessed a lot of ups and downs that impacted on his popularity as president. The withdrawal from Afghanistan, the wars in Ukraine, the wars in the Middle East, immigration crisis, inflation crisis. Immigration became a major issue during that time. He also did, to his credit, accomplish some significant legislative achievements on a bipartisan basis. But a lot of it was clouded by concerns about his age, and he ultimately stepped down. The vice president, Harris, took his place. It was late in the game, tough to get traction. She put on a pretty good fight, but lost to Trump. And so here we are now in the second term of Donald Trump. It's fair to say, and I think it's a good bet, that those that look back at this period of history will know this period as the Trump era. And whether we voted for or against the president, he is our president. If he succeeds, our country succeeds. If he fails, we will fail. It's important to ask, what will history say about this era? Will it be another period of chaos and unpredictability? David Brooks of the New York Times had a recent column in which he compared this moment in our history to the period in the 1800s of failed populism. Period where we had a lot of tariffs, manifest destiny. We seized land from weaker nations. And we always were looking for somebody to blame. We were looking for conspiracies of one kind or another. In David's words, he said, their diagnosis during that time was simple-minded. Their rhetoric was over the top. Their proposals failed. There was no discipline. There was no structure, unquote. Will we have that kind of period, or will the president learn from his experience as president in his first term and really provide the leadership to manage and build permanent solutions to the crises that we face? Look, nobody really knows the answer to that question. We've been in this administration for less than 2 weeks, and that alone will not define this administration. We've had a record number of executive orders. My view, having worked for 9 presidents in some way or another, you cannot govern through executive orders. You have to govern by changing laws and working with Congress and making permanent change. Executive orders are always temporary. They will be thrown out by the next administration. They are not an effective way to govern the country, and we're finding that out now. There's a lot of rhetoric. But in the end, as I said, it's too early to tell. I know one thing for sure, that we're looking at the possibility of taking two paths into the 21st century. One is that we could be in America in Renaissance. I really believe that. Or, if you want to use Trump's term, a golden age. Or we could be in America in decline. I honestly believe that we could be an America in Renaissance. Our economic fundamentals are strong. We are creative, we are innovative, we are resilient. We are operating on the cutting edge of new technology for the future, whether it's AI or cyber, whether it's quantum computing. I've seen it myself serving on a board in Silicon Valley. There are remarkable capabilities that are there. We could teach the skills of the 21st century to our young people. I'm not a believer that because of technology somehow they won't have that opportunity. I really do believe that we can give them the skills they need in order to be able to compete in the 21st century. I believe we could have a time when Republicans and Democrats work together to produce real change and real leadership and take advantage of those opportunities, and that a president and a Congress can work together to do that. We need that. We need that in this country. We don't elect people to go back to Washington just to pound their shoe on the table. We elect them to govern. And there are crises that can be dealt with. There is an opportunity to resolve the immigration crisis, not just through shock and awe deportation, but comprehensive immigration reform. We did that in the 1980s. Democrats and Republicans came together. We dealt with the border. We dealt with work capabilities. We dealt with penalties on employers. We dealt with legalization. All of that was comprehensive reform. And that's what we need, because we need an immigration system that provides an efficient process in order to give those that come to this country a legal way to enter this country. We need to take advantage of the opportunity to maintain a strong economy. I am not a believer in using tariffs to start a trade war or in using tariffs to beat up other countries. We need to have, in this globalized world of ours, every country needs the ability to compete in a world marketplace. I believe in free and fair trade. That, I think, is important for our future, not to start a trade war that results in inflation here in this country. I think we need to take advantage of the opportunity to deal with the debt and budget problem in this country. I was chair of the Budget Committee. We passed budgets. We passed appropriation bills. We balanced the federal budget. Today, we're looking at a $35 trillion debt. Neither party, Democrat or Republican, is willing to deal with the issues that will put us back on the track of achieving fiscal discipline. But we absolutely have to get back on that track. We've got to be able to do that, because now we are paying more in interest payments on that debt. We're paying more than the defense budget, almost $1 trillion just on interest on that debt. We cannot have a strong economy with that debt. So there are areas that we have to pursue that are opportunities, particularly when it comes to world leadership. We live in a dangerous world today. As a former Secretary of Defense, I can tell you that I think there are more flashpoints in today's world than we've seen since World War II. It's important to provide world leadership and build strong alliances in order to deal with those challenges. Trump has spoken of peace through strength, Ronald Reagan's words, as to how he approached foreign policy. And I think it is important to operate with peace through strength. But it means building a strong military, and it means building strong diplomacy. We need to have strong alliances. We're facing autocracies that are now working together, autocrats that are now supporting each other to basically go after democracy. We have to build a strong NATO in order to stop Putin. Putin invaded a sovereign democracy in the Ukraine. We cannot allow Putin to succeed. We cannot allow him to succeed. That would send a terrible message to autocrats. It would send a terrible message to the world. So we need to do what we can, obviously, to try to find a peaceful solution, but we cannot allow Putin to succeed. We cannot allow Xi to succeed in Taiwan. Again, we have to build a strong alliance. South Korea, Japan, Australia, the ASEAN countries, working together to make clear that we will protect Taiwan, that we will protect the South China Sea, drawing lines that then give us the ability to have a dialogue with China on the issues that we have to talk to each other about that are important for the future. And lastly, we need a strong alliance to stop Hamas and terrorism and Iran in the Middle East. I think it is important to strengthen the Abraham Accords. The ability to have a strong alliance of moderate Arab countries and Israel working together can produce, in my mind, a more permanent peace for the future than this constant warfare that is going on in the Middle East. So we can have opportunity in crisis. And that, I believe, would be the fulfillment of what Lincoln called the better angels of our nature. But we could also fail. And if we allow our fears and our hates and our prejudices and our divisions to continue to divide this country, make no mistake about it, America will be in decline, and we will go the way of past empires. I tell our students here at the Panetta Institute, in a democracy, we govern either by leadership or crisis. I believe it is very important at this moment in time to have strong leadership and to not govern by crisis. So my final point to all of you is that as a community, as Americans, we need to fight to make sure that we have the right leadership to achieve the American dream, to achieve an American Renaissance, and to achieve a country of, by, and for all people. Thank you very much for having me.
Secretary Panetta, thank you for your insights today and addressing us. I'm going to say to everybody, if you want to learn more about this man's extraordinary life and really get a glance at American history for the last 50 years, his autobiography is called Worthy Fights. It's phenomenal. I strongly recommend it. We have a number of questions from the audience. I apologize to those of you whose questions I won't get to, but we're not going to get to everybody's. A few questions on foreign policy. One is, if America is going to withdraw from international organizations like the WHO and the Paris Accords, and China is going to try and fill our leadership space, will Europe, Japan, or India step forward as a countervailing force? How do you see that playing out? Did you hear the question? Okay.
Yes, I heard the question. And look, my hope is that America does not withdraw from the rest of the world. That's crazy. We tried isolationism before World War II, It was a mistake then, and it's a mistake now. We have to be a world leader. Every president since World War II, Democrat and Republican, with the exception of Trump, recognized that we had to be strong world leaders, that we had to build alliances in order to be able to protect our security. And very frankly, if the United States doesn't provide that leadership, nobody else will. I mean, I recognize that Europe is very concerned now, that NATO is concerned, but I am hoping that the president recognizes that America cannot withdraw from the world, that it has to deal with the world, that we have to build alliances, that we have to exercise world leadership. If we don't, make no mistake about it, we will weaken our security and weaken our national strength.
Thank you. We have a few questions on Ukraine. I'm going to try and combine them. Excuse me. You mentioned that we can't allow Putin to win in Ukraine. How do you see getting to a resolution, and what do you think a resolution might look like?
I think it's very important right now that the United States continue working with NATO to support Ukraine. And the reason I say that is because I think what has to happen right now is that we have to give Zelensky the ability to establish an initiative against Russia. If Ukraine can start pushing the Russians back, it will give them leverage then, better leverage, to be able to then engage in a negotiation that I believe is there to try to resolve this war. But they have to be able to have the initiative, and the United States has to be prepared to stick with them until they gain that initiative in order to be able to ultimately negotiate with Putin. Putin only understands one thing, and that's force. He doesn't understand pretty please. That's for damn sure. He understands force. And the United States has to be strong in this situation. We cannot allow Putin to succeed. He invaded a sovereign democracy. For God's sakes, that hasn't happened since World War II, and we saw what Hitler did in Europe. We cannot allow that to happen in Europe.
With the Panetta Institute, you're committed to enhancing democracy and encouraging young people to enter public service. And so the question from the audience is, how do we encourage young people to pursue public service given the current political environment and the lack of trust?
Well, it's not a good situation. We did a poll. We do a poll every year at the Panetta Institute of college students across the country. And the poll this last year came back with some very disappointing results. A majority, for the first time, a majority of young people do not believe they are going to be able to enjoy the American dream, that their life is going to be better than their parents. And they really are concerned about the path of this country. Let me tell you what I believe needs to happen in this country. I think we have to establish a national service system for all young people in this country. It doesn't just have to be service in the military. It can be service in conservation, service in education, service in healthcare, service in some area for 2 years, and then provide the opportunity to get a good higher education. Rather than borrowing money to get a higher education, I think we ought to pay young people for serving their country. We've got to ignite the pride of people working in their country.
Secretary Panetta, I want to thank you again for addressing us today, and please pass along our thanks to your staff, who has been just delightful to work with and very responsive. Really appreciate it. And thank you also for your great service to our country. We greatly appreciate you.
Thank you very much, David.
Secretary Panetta, it's such an honor, and Oakland needs this type of incredible stature to have someone like you join us. We really, really appreciate it. And as a gift for our speakers, we make a donation to the End Polio campaign with Rotary International. As you know, we are still, how far are we, gang? This close to wiping out polio off the face of the planet, as long as an executive order doesn't stop it. Sorry. We are a non-political and non-religious organization, and I'm actually saying that for real. We're bringing you information and education from our friend Secretary Panetta, and your insights inspire. And the students in the room, you might have changed a few lives from the young people because they came to see you. So thank you, sir. You bless us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Wow. Fantastic. What do you think of that, club? Wow. I am breathless and honored. And David Stein, you rock in the speaker committee. Thank you so much for continuing to raise the bar and to get people back in this ballroom to listen to amazing speakers that inspire us. And with that, CJ, who's going to be speaking next week?
Thank you, President. Well, Mother Jones magazine calls him Oakland's merchant of bad vibes. Richmond Confidential calls him the master of disaster. He's the fixer to the San Jose Mercury News and top gun for hire to the San Francisco Chronicle. But when your tiger escapes from the San Francisco Zoo, your fast food company is facing a food poisoning outbreak, or your ship strikes the Bay Bridge, he is and was the one to call. Next week, come hear award-winning public relations expert and genuinely nice guy, Sam Singer, president of Singer Associates in San Francisco, talk about the challenges of crisis management. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right. Thank you. So what I want to, one thing is it's our job to go out in the world and make magic and peace and kindness and togetherness. This club really provides a lot. I'm going to thank all of you for helping to put this together, and for the food and for the help and the greeting and the guests. And this is on YouTube, and share it with many other people. Actually, the Gilroy Club might show it as their own speaker, but it's there for you all to use. And I want to thank everyone for coming today, and we will see you next week.
Happy Chinese New Year's, everyone. Please clean up the tables, throw away the trash, and have a good day.